9:15 p.m., exactly as it always did. I didn't know that yet. Wouldn't know it for another 8 months. Wouldn't remember it 647 times after that. But the rain knew. The rain had been falling for 2 years. 8 months into volunteering at the crisis line, I had developed a routine that I followed religiously, like a Muslim praying on a mat. Tuesday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to midnight. 4th floor apartment at the edge of downtown, where gentrification and decay took turns winning. The laptop had the crisis line software pre-installed. The headset's foam was peeling away from the right ear cup. I kept a pack of cigarettes within reach, even though I wasn't supposed to smoke. Window cracked just enough to let the cold in and the smoke out. The TV played muted true crime documentaries. Always true crime. Always that cold case from 1987. Through the wall, the girl next door lived her life in surround sound. Mid-20s, marketing or PR. Something that required her to laugh professionally into a headset during the day and bring home different men on weekends. I didn't know her name. We exchanged hallway smiles, hers automatic, mine mechanical. The walls were thin enough to hear everything. I tried not to listen, failed every time. Most nights I got 4 calls, sometimes none. Tonight would be different, though I didn't know that yet. Tonight would be the 648th iteration of the same 23 seconds. For the first time, I would almost remember. When people asked why I volunteered, and they always asked, their voices bright with that particular tone reserved for discussing charity work, I said it was to help people. That was the acceptable answer. The one that didn't require explaining about the garage, or the Sunday afternoon, or the drill I had borrowed and never returned. My brother hadn't called anyone. He just walked into the garage while I was at brunch, ordering Eggs Benedict and laughing about something forgettable. By the time I found him Tuesday evening, he'd been gone for 53 hours. So now I answered phones, listened, stayed calm, followed the script when necessary, and abandoned it when someone needed a human voice more than a protocol. The training had been 6 weeks of online videos, quizzes, practice scenarios. They'd taught me how to de-escalate, how to identify immediate risk, how to not take it home. I took it home every time. Or more accurately, it had never left. The first call came on a Thursday in late September. I remembered because it was the first genuinely cold night. The space heater glowed orange in the corner like a dying star. Crisis line, this is Sam. First name only. That was policy. Breathing on the other end, slow, measured. The kind that came from someone who'd been working up to this call for hours, maybe days. I need help. The voice was steady, too steady, like someone had a gun to their head and every word was life or death. I'm here. Take your time. There's someone watching me. I pulled up the intake form. Ash from my cigarette tumbled onto the keys, leaving gray smears in the blue light. Can you tell me more about that? I don't know who he is, but he's been following me for 3 days. Outside my building, outside my work, at the grocery store yesterday, just standing by the freezer section, pretending to look at his phone. Standard paranoia presentation, I thought. Possible schizophrenic break. Substance-induced psychosis. Have you contacted the police? They said there's nothing they can do unless he threatens me or makes contact. Or maybe it was real. I talked him through breathing exercises, provided resources for stalking victims, suggested varying his routine. The caller's voice steadied. He thanked me. The line went dead at 9:38 p.m. I sat in the aftermath, watching smoke curl toward the ceiling. On the TV, A detective discussed a missing woman last seen at a gas station in 1987. The rain intensified, hammering the window like it was trying to get in. The fear in the caller's voice had felt real. I could usually tell the difference. Real fear had weight, texture. It pressed against you through the phone line. Through the wall, I heard heels on hardwood. A man's deeper voice joined in. Then laughter. Music started. Something with bass that I felt more than heard. I turned up the documentary's volume just enough to drown it out. He called again on Tuesday. I recognized the voice immediately. It's me, from Thursday. The guy who's being followed. Right. Are you okay? Is he still? He knows where I work. I mean, he knew before, but now he's been inside. In the lobby this morning, talking to security like he belonged there. The conversation lasted 20 minutes. I provided more resources, emphasized documentation, suggested he stay with friends. He said he didn't really have anyone. I heard that a lot. People whose lives had contracted until there was no one left to call, but strangers with headsets. Thursday came, 9:15 p.m. The phone rang. He was at my gym. My cigarette stopped halfway to my lips. Something about the timing. Something about the precision. Okay, slow down. Tell me what happened. I went after work, same gym I always go to, and he was there, on a treadmill, watching me in the mirror. There was something different in his voice now, a tightness, like wire being wound too tight. Have you been sleeping? Not much. Are you eating? When I remember, I walked him through grounding techniques. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, the standard de-escalation protocol. But before hanging up, the caller said something that lodged itself in my chest like a splinter. Do you ever feel like you're being watched? Sometimes. I think everyone does. No, I mean really watched. Like someone's studying you. I didn't have an answer for that. I just said to call back anytime. After the line went dead, I sat motionless. The cigarette had burned to the filter. On the TV, that same 1987 case, missing woman, gas station, last seen. The rain had picked up, no longer falling but attacking the window. That weekend, I started noticing things. Saturday in the basement laundry, there was some tweaker kid, Jesse Pinkman if he'd given up entirely, sitting there on his phone, almost looked see-through. I'd never seen him before. When I glanced back from my door, the hallway was empty. Sunday evening, I was filling up at the Chevron on 9th. An old Buick Regal sat at the next pump, engine running, no one inside. I watched it while I pumped. Never saw anyone get in. When I came out from paying, it was gone. Just an oil stain on the concrete. Fresh and dark. That happens sometimes, occupational hazard. But I kept thinking about how the caller's fear had started with small things too. Tuesday night arrived like a held breath finally released. I set up the laptop, headset, cigarettes. The true crime documentary was on its home invasion series. The rain was biblical now. At 9:15 p.m., the phone rang. It's me. Hey, how are you holding up? I think I'm losing it. His voice was shaking. The wire had finally snapped. What happened? The coffee shop, this morning. He was in line behind me, close enough that I could hear him breathing. Did he say anything? No, but when I got my coffee and turned around, he was just staring at me, smiling. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Real fear, not paranoia. Real. What did you do? I left, got in my car, drove to work, kept checking the rear view. I think he followed me. Listen to me. I know this feels overwhelming, but you're doing the right thing by reaching out. You're not alone in this." "I feel alone." "I know, but you're not. We're going to get through this." The word "we" came out before I could stop it. That wasn't protocol, but it was too late, and somehow it felt necessary. Long silence, just breathing. Then, "Do you ever think that maybe you're the one being watched?" My mouth went dry. "What?" "I mean, you're always here, always answering when I call, like you're waiting for me. That's my job. I'm a volunteer. I'm here for anyone who calls. But it's always you, always your voice. That's just coincidence. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights. If you're calling during those shifts, I know your schedule." My hands went numb. "I know you live on the 4th floor. I know you smoke during your shifts. I know you run on Sunday mornings. I know the girl next door brings different guys home, and you hear everything through the wall." The room tilted. My voice came out wrong, strangled. "Who is this? You really don't know?" Then I heard it under his words, an echo, like the same voice trying to speak through itself. "Check your call log." I pulled it up. There were entries, timestamps, proof of work I remembered doing, but every one of them said the same thing. Tuesday, January 6th, 2026, 9:15 p.m. I scrolled. Nothing changed. That wasn't a pattern. That was a still image pretending to be a history. "That's not possible," I said. "Look at the timer, Sam. Current call duration, 00:00:23. It wasn't moving. I waited for it to tick, to advance, to prove I was wrong. It didn't. The room felt wrong. Not quiet, not frozen, incomplete, like something that hadn't finished happening yet. Then it hit me like I'd been sucker punched in the brain. The apartment, the rain, the girl next door, the documentaries, the cigarettes burning down to ash, my route, my takeout, Tuesday, Wednesday, none of it had changed, because none of it was changing. None of it could change. 2 years ago, the caller said, his voice gentle now, almost pitying. October, you were training at the crisis line. Someone called late. You were exhausted. And when he told you he wanted to die, you said, then maybe you should. My chest constricted, memory trying to surface through 2 years of constructed forgetting. His name was Aaron. He hung up, and an hour later, he was dead, and your mind couldn't handle it. So it built this, a place where you could try again, where you could be better. But you're not better, Sam. You're just stuck. I can fix it. You can't. Because this isn't really happening. You're still on that call, still in that 23-second pause after he said, I don't think I can do this anymore. Still about to say the thing that kills him. You've been in this pause for 2 years, and you'll be here forever. The rain stopped. Not gradually. It stopped mid-drop, mid-impact, like the universe had lost interest in finishing the moment. The apartment went silent. Not quiet, silent. You don't have much time, he said gently. Your mind can only hold this open for so long. What happens then? You'll let it close. You've been here before, he continued. Right here, in this pause. That's not true. It is. You've stood at this exact edge hundreds of times, tried different words, different versions of yourself. I shook my head. I would remember. You never do, he said, because remembering means finishing it. My chest tightened. Each time, You almost say the right thing, almost become the person who could save me. Then why don't I? Because the version of you who could say it, he said softly, ended the same night I did. I'm sorry. I know. You always are. Right here. Right at the end. And then you forget. The walls began to dissolve. Not crumbling. Dissolving. Like ink in water. Bleeding into nothingness. Wait. I'll see you again, Sam. Same call. Same rain. Same pause. Please. You did good tonight. Aaron would be proud. Everything went black. Then I opened my eyes. I was in my living room. Laptop open. Crisis line software loading. The space heater hummed in the corner. My breath tasted like cold air and smoke. My headset beside the laptop. The intake form was already open. My brother hadn't called anyone before he died. That still hurt, but it felt contained now, like something I could carry without it breaking me. Outside, rain traced clean lines down the window. I checked the clock. 9:14 p.m. Good. I took a breath. This felt good. Today is a new day. When the phone rang, I didn't rush. I put on the headset. Crisis line, this is Sam. A slow breath on the other end. I need help. You did the right thing by calling, I said. I meant it. I'm here. There's someone watching me. I steadied my hands on the keyboard. Took a moment. Okay, I said gently. Before we go any further, can you tell me your name?